context why God isolates them.
Yes. Sometimes people realize why they're isolated, the need for isolation, be it spiritually or be it out of necessity for their own growth. So, yes, absolutely. Isolation is required for growth because most skills and self mastery is achieved in isolation, except when, let's say, environmental exposure is required.
So are you saying that the person that's being stripped of everything and losing everyone in their life, like this could be a good thing for them?
No, not necessarily. So isolation by choice is one thing, and losing people in your life or being stripped of people in your life. Now, pertaining to spirituality, right? As it pertains to spirituality, being stripped of people in your life it's quite an extreme, but there's always a lesson to be learned from that. There's always a potential lesson, essentially, to be learned from that. Now, I'm not quite sure I understand the exact details that your answer, the answers that your question. Let's try that again. What is the question?
So, to the person that's being stripped of everything and losing everyone in their life, could this be a good thing? Like, how do they know that people and things are being removed from their life because it's time for them to grow, or are people and things being removed from their life because they need to change who they are in a more positive? Like, are they the problem? Or do they need to, or is it time for them to grow and they're just simply outgrowing the people around them?
So sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes you outgrow the people around you. Sometimes you want to self-isolate, right? Because for growth, oftentimes you have to minimize the distractions, that steal your precious resources, which is time, right? Because you can't get that back, and there's nothing more important that you can buy, even with money, other than time. So isolation is important. And sometimes the people around you, the closest people to you, can't understand that. They can't see the goals that you've set out for yourself, right? They don't understand what your calling is, right? Be it a higher calling, spiritually, or just goals that you've set for yourself, milestones that you've set for yourself. And for the most part, you need darkness, you need quiet, you need isolation, you need to be still for a lot of those things to come into fruition, right? Because the more people you have around you, you get pulled to and fro, left and right, in different directions, sometimes for other people's selfish needs, or just sometimes because the people around you have not bought into what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Why is isolation so important in your youth?
Well, the goal is to explore all your potential capabilities in your youth and hasten your failure rate, right? Speed up identifying what works and what doesn't work. And if you don't isolate yourself, if you're constantly hearing the noise that comes from, as much as I hate to say, family, friends, associates, people around you, then there's a saying that birds of a feather flock together, or you end up like you become a sum of the few people, about 5 people that you hang out with, right? And isolation in your youth is a very vital part of your life, when you have a chance and choice to carve out who you want to be. And speaking of youth, it's relative, right? Because your late teens to early 20s and early 20s to mid 20s can still be somewhat considered your youth. And depending on what you're able to accomplish and the skills you're able to pick up within and master also within this period of time, it can very well, it can take what your future will be like, and what your potential accomplishments can be within the next, in your 30s, put it that way, and 40s and beyond.